Hey guys, today I am in rural New Jersey. When most people think of New Jersey, they don't think of farms. But out here in the heart of the Garden State, nearly 750,000 acres, about 15% of the state is farmland. How we doing? So I'm here with Scott right now, and we are right now at your farm. Scott Clucas is a third-generation farmer who's been working this land for decades.
My dad died when I was 28 years old. And,
at 28, oh my gosh, what a challenge.
You know, Mother Nature's your boss, so you can't really tell them that you don't feel good or tell them you're pissed off today. They don't really care. My son's a chemical engineer. He's out here.
Wow, that's kind of a polar opposite.
yeah.
He's one of New Jersey's longest tenured farmers, growing crops like corn, soybeans, wheat, oats, and hay. His produce doesn't just stay locally, it gets shipped across the world, even as far as China. Today I'm spending the day with Scott, his crew, and his family. How does it feel being the farmer's wife out here in rural New Jersey? Because from what I've heard is you come from the city, am I not mistaken?
I mean, I love that farmer. I think he's probably the most motivated person I know.
We'll see what it takes to run a farm of this scale, visit the fields, and take a look at the land that's been in his family for generations. It's not just about the crops, it's about the people who've built this life. This is the side of New Jersey most people never get to see. So let's hop on in. And if you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the video. Hey guys, today I am in rural New Jersey and I'm in one of the most important counties, Hunterdon County, for hay, as you can tell by the background behind me. I'm excited today because I'm gonna be spending the day with a three-generational farmer, his family lineage in New Jersey, his way back, and on top of it, it's super fascinating. I'm gonna learn a lot because I don't know a lot about farming, and I think this would be great to expose you guys to the culture of New Jersey that many don't know about. So thank you again. If you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the video. What's up? Oh, you're excited. You're excited. You can see all the corn below me right here. They're getting the corn up in there. Pretty cool so far. A massive farm. It just goes on for miles and miles and miles. You can see. It smells really good. There's your tractor. This is just an incredible view. And you wouldn't believe me, but this is New Jersey, which has a huge production of corn. I think it's top 10 in the state for production, or top 10 in the nation, I should say. So I'm gonna go find Scott right now. We're gonna see more, but man, I'm excited today. Being on a farm, you get to really feel like you're at the heart of America when you come to one of these places. I found Scott right now. He's right now on the tractor, of course, so let's see how this goes. Scott, how we doing? So I'm here with Scott right now, and we are right now at your farm, which is massive. So how many acres is this? Because it looks like it just keeps going and going and going.
Well, we farm just under 5,000, or just about 5,000, but we own 500. So we lease most of the land from other people that own the land.
So I've heard about this. Why is it that there's a thing with leasing with farmers? Because you're not the only one I've heard this from. I've heard this from other people where it's like they'll have thousands of land and then they own maybe 20 or 30 acres. Yeah. So what's the deal with that? Why?
Well, one, it's so expensive to own, you know, and two, the landowners not only they get rent for the land, you pay them rent per acre. And then they also get the tax break for farmland assessment.
So that's the advantage right there.
Yeah, that's the advantage for them.
Tax break.
Yep.
Got it. So then how long have you been here for? I know I read one of the articles, your family is three-generational.
Well, yeah, my grandfather came over in the 20s, and I got a little bit of interest in the story because my grandfather came over from Allaman, ended up in Connecticut, and then ended up going to school in Yale. roommate at the time when they just placed you with whoever.
Was he a farmer back in the Isle?
No. So he was a young guy, and so he went to Yale, and his roommate was Jim Brady, who was at the time the biggest landowner in New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, or one of the biggest, I guess. You know, and he ended up being his personal stockbroker. So, and then he started like kind of farming on the side as like kind of a fun thing over in Bedminster Township. And at that time, 206 was going to go right through our farm there.
Yeah.
So he bought land out here. So he bought over 1,000 acres out here.
So a stockbroker who on the side wanted to be a farmer.
He just kind of take around farming. Then my dad came along, and he went to Rutgers University, got his degree in animal science and stuff. And he's really the one that started farming.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the one that really like took it on. But for whatever reason, my dad separated from his brothers and sister, and I really don't know what happened. He just told me money wasn't everything, and he started from nothing. He literally he sold his train set, that it was a collector's train set, to buy that house, and he built that house himself.
And what year was that built?
Gosh, 1949.
So that's your childhood home.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That must be incredible.
Yeah.
So this area must have changed quite a bit.
Yeah. Someone told me that Hunterdon County now is 15 times the size it was when I was a kid.
15 times the size
of population.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
We started out, with beef cattle, and my uncle had some dairy and stuff. And
so you guys were like cowboy ranching with the
cows. Yeah, we had 110 head of beefers back in the day.
Yeah.
And then we had some dairy cows at my uncle down the road.
Yeah.
And then that business, was kind of tough go. So we got into grain farming back in the early 80s. I mean, I was small, young guy.
Yeah.
And then we just started, when my dad died when I was, I guess, 28 years old. And so
he had this entire operation going on, and you were 28, and then he passed away.
He passed away. Then I took it on from there. And,
at 28, my gosh, what a challenge.
Yeah.
Holy
but
crap.
Now, it wasn't as big, but it was, we were still farming 1,800. Because of economics and stuff, I kind of had to expand to pay some bills and stuff, and move on. And I just had my son was 1 year old. Now I just picked him up from the airport, and he's 23 years old now.
Holy crap. So what's going on? Like, what's the setup right now? You
got us on a downtime because we're all done harvesting, which we never get done before Thanksgiving. It's been because of the drought. Yeah. We were able to go 7 days a week, and every single day we were able to combine and harvest corn, and the corn was coming in really dry out of the field, so we didn't have to dry much. So we were able to pound it out. So it's really a great time for us, So we got that done. Yeah. So we're making hay deliveries. We do a lot of hay.
This is all the hay deliveries?
Well, yeah. This is one. I could take you to other barns here. We got. We probably want. That's kind of our claim to fame. I guess we're one of the biggest hay producers in the state of New Jersey. So we do 1,300 acres of hay, but we do it in small squares. So everything is, so we do 220,000 small square bales a year. Feels like a lot to me.
And who are your primary consumers? It's just in the state of New Jersey that you're selling to? Or
yeah, it's just horse industry, and we do make some mulch hay for the landscapers.
Yeah, okay.
But it gets all delivered within, I'd say, from Morristown to New Brunswick.
Wow, so that's an entire operation. So from the time that you literally plant the seeds, let it grow, you have to then cut it off, put it in bales, and then you have to have then pretty much like a whole exporting business.
Hay, you could plant grass hay and it'll last 20, 30 years, so it's not like you're seeding it down every year, but it's just almost like a lawn. You're cutting it, you're baling it, you gotta make sure it's dry. There's a process to drying it and baling it. Yeah. There's a process to it. And then you put it in barns, and then, we got customers. We have, I think 150 horse customers or something like that, and that we deliver to. And we deliver, I would say, anywhere from 500 to 800 bales of hay 5 days a week. And when I was 16 years old, I took over from my dad on the hay end of it. And I was had the flu really bad, and I had hay down. And I said, I don't think I'm going to get to that hay today. I don't feel too good. And my dad goes, well, Mother Nature doesn't give a crap that you're sick today and your hay's going to go bad. So I learned very at an age, just because you're not feeling well or whatever, you got to keep keep moving on. That's the only thing different in farming, I think, than any other job is like, you know, Mother Nature's your boss, so and you can't really, you know, you can't really tell them that you don't feel good or tell them you don't, you know, you're pissed off today. They don't really care.
So you would say it takes a certain person to be a farmer.
Yeah, you just can't be type A. I mean, because things change. I mean, you can have a whole day plan, and you know, if you're when we're in a livestock business, you got a cow down, you got to take care of the cow, and everything else has to go sit to the side. You know, we get out to go ready to combine or whatever, and a combine breaks down, or you know, something springs a leak or something. You got to fix it. You got to be willing to move.
The Clucas Farms. So you guys are only here just in Oldwick, or?
Oh no, we farm. I guess we're in Hunterdon, Somerset, Morris, Warren County, 4 counties.
So 20,000 acres, you said?
No, 5,000.
Sorry, 5,000 acres.
Yeah.
And out of the 5,000, that's all over those counties, all over those areas.
Yeah.
So what's the deal? One of the things that I was curious about that I was reading up on is there's, what I read, 10,000 farms from whatever that article told me in New Jersey. But one of the things that everyone today, when they go to the grocery store, they all desire is they want to see that certified organic.
Yeah.
What is the deal with that? Like, is that something that many farmers, when that became such a fad, which it is now, have tried to shift towards? Or is it something that, like, what's the deal with the whole organic thing?
On my end, I don't do organic here on my farm. There's a lot of people that are trying.
Yeah.
You know, it's a tough thing. Labor is very high in the state of New Jersey, and it's very labor intensive. So the economics never seem to work out, and you could pretty much consider your yield is going to be a quarter of what we could produce.
Really?
And maybe not even, or it could be a zero. You know what I mean? We dabbled with it a little bit. We just never found the economics to work out on my end, anyway. But certain guys are doing it, and you know, and making it work. I find that I find that we're kinder to the environment the way we're doing it than even organic. I know it sounds stupid.
No. So explain this, because this is one of the things that, you know, when people go to the grocery store, they're just told from just people being like, organic, that's healthy. That's it. Usually
well, well, first of all, I mean, there's no scientific. Every buddy that's ever tested conventional farming, and whether it's like a tomato or it's growing field corn, or tested organic, if it's better for you or not, there's no benefit that way. There's no one that's healthier than the other. It's more or less we spray, they spray too, but they're spraying a different thing.
So what's up with the chemicals in the spraying? Because when we hear about the spraying, we're like, oh crap.
God, that's all bad. Yeah,
exactly. Some people are just like, oh, I don't want to eat that. There's something terrible in that. Where it's like organic, it's like, oh, maybe they just wash it with water.
Well, I could say, okay, the most recent thing is like there's carrots that had they just got recalled.
Oh yes, I just saw this.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was, see, when you're doing organic, you still gotta put your three elements in the soil. You still need phosphorus.
Yeah.
You still need potash, and you still need nitrogen. Okay. So they're just getting it from a different source. So their source is coming from chicken manure, hog manure, cow manure, and we spread a lot of that stuff too. It's just that you never know what you got in. You know what you have when you fill your manure spreader up with manure. Mm-hmm. You never know what you have in it, and so that can get translated into your product.
And what things could be in there that are quote unquote, they say, bad for you, or quote unquote dangerous?
It's manure. So if it gets into the food of some sort, I don't know how those people were, if they were irrigating through it, and they got, it gets there, just like anything, it could be not good for you on that end of it. So the only thing I find with it is that we can pinpoint. Our sprayers and everything are like we're to the ounce. We're pinpointing where we're putting the chemicals and stuff, and then we're using the least amount we could possibly. Like if it calls for a quart, we're using less than that, because we don't want to spend. I don't like have a ton of money to be like, hey, I'm just going to give this to the chemical company. We're gonna put as least amount as possible, and it biodegrades through the soil. The chemicals. It isn't like the old days where you went out and put, like when I first started, we put 2 or 3 pounds of atrazine to the acre. Now we're using an eighth of an ounce. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's not like it was, because we're learning more. And it's like the farming industry is one of the oldest industries in agriculture. Is the oldest industry in the United States. So we're learning as we go too. You know what I mean? So, you know, and I would be totally say today's agriculture is safer than it was when I first started back when I was a little kid. Yeah,
so what do you say to the layman that just like goes to the grocery store? They want to just get the best products for them. They don't want they don't want to have to worry about it.
Yeah, the choice is they're both safe. They're both. I would say, you know, yeah. There's always going to be the outbreak here and there, and whether it's conventional or organic, but the mindset is still safe. I think that the hard part, I think today, is that the preservatives that once we take it to the place, what happens to it from there, I find is the maybe the fuzzy part. Like,
give me an example of that. So
so if you get beef from my neighbor who grows beef down the road, it's not going to be bright red in a you know, so you know, I think that's the thing that I think farm raised is still farm raised like it always been, but when it goes to the processor, I can't guarantee you what they're doing on that end of it to preserve it, to keep it preserved, the preservatives and stuff like that. I think that's really the bad point, and I think farmers get thrown into that, but we have nothing to do with that. You know, this is just second cutting hay. This goes back. This barn's an 80 by 200 building, and then I ran out of room with my silos, so we put some corn in here. We just dumped it in.
So this is all the corn here, and
some of it, yeah.
So what's the deal? I've heard from some locals here that the sweet corn is the best ever.
Yeah, we don't grow sweet corn.
You don't grow sweet corn.
But my neighbors do, and it's awesome.
This is crazy. It's just a mountain of corn. You just like want to go down it like with a sled. Oh my gosh. So what phase are we in right now? So this is all the corn that you collected.
Yeah. We took, and now it just gets sold. We sell most of ours to Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And so we take 3 loads a day out, 5 days a week, but there's a massive demand for it.
There is.
Yeah. I know people don't translate this with food, but if you eat chicken, hog, beef, anything, this is what feeds them to feed you. And I think there's 22 million chickens ate a day in the United States, and you know, and I know the one hog place we go to, and it's a very small hog place. They're killing 11,500 a day.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of feed. I know my whole place. I got all those silos and stuff wouldn't last one of the feed mills a week. For your beef cattle, there's definitely a lot of grass fed. Some people argue that it's too tough a meat. Yeah. But, you know, once again, it's in the eye of the beholder. You know what I mean? It's but there's a lot of people finish off with mainly this. My feed is going for hogs, a bunch of dairy too.
You have so much equipment. I can only imagine how much you have to spend. On keeping the equipment, buying the equipment, and then keeping it up to date.
Yeah, that's what we're kind of doing this time of year. We're just doing maintenance from here until spring. Yeah. I got 2 guys in there. That's all they'll do every single, 5 days a week, just doing maintenance. Equipment is huge on any agriculture. It's a big expense. We've kind of generational worked away, up to it, and we also have a lot of the tractors we have are actually quite old. We just keep them nice and painted up and cleaned up.
Yeah,
and
you
stuff.
learn how to be a very handy person where it's like, we're not going to buy these.
Because equipment's kind of gotten out of control since the whole COVID thing. It's gotten crazy.
Really? In what
way? They're just so expensive. It never came down really, so.
Oh, so it just kept surging up.
Yeah, so for instance, my combine I bought in 2014, brand new, I paid $240,000 for. That same combine. It didn't really change them besides some, stupid little things, nothing major. And now that combine's 540 some thousand.
So what are the ones right here we're looking at?
What are we looking at? The tractors? Or
just the tractors in general, like the rules of these things.
Yeah, so like that tractor off to the right there.
Yeah.
That's a 1992.
No way.
Yeah.
That looks in such great shape. Yeah. Like the color red is still popping.
Yeah, well, we've repainted them and stuff. It's not like that. And this one's a 2013. It's got almost 10,000 hours on it. That one's got probably 20,000 hours on it. It's just But
oh, I love it. So you guys go by hours.
yeah, so the mileage, I don't know how it would translate into mileage, but it would probably be a this would probably be, say, 200,000 miles, you know what I mean? It would, so it's got some miles on it, but,
Oh my gosh. What am I looking at exactly? Like, what's just gonna hold this?
This is a lime spreader / chicken manure spreader. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Just the tires and the whole set. So all this land over here up into this home is yours as well?
Yes.
Does it ever just boggle your mind how much land that you're using? Just being like, oh my gosh, like you gotta be in charge of all of it, making sure it's all up to date.
Yeah. You just get used to doing it. I think it's no different than like you doing what you're doing right now would freak me out. I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
but I think you just, when people ask me all the time, like I can pretty much tell you in this particular field or something, I can tell you every little wet spot. I can tell you where there's a rock. I can tell you where, and everything like that. But I can't remember someone's name that's, 2 minutes ago. You know what I mean? But just what you're programmed, how you're programmed,
How many people do you have working underneath you to keep this all going?
I got 12 guys working here.
Dude, that's a business. That's a small business going.
Yeah,
Holy crap.
And,
jeez. Incredible. And this is to pick up?
That's the plow. That's a chisel plow.
Wow. And this is from the 1990s, you were saying?
The tractor is 1990s. I couldn't tell you without honesty. That's probably older than 1990, the chisel plow. I don't know what year that is exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been around a while. I bought it at an auction years ago. So I really don't know.
Pickup's right there.
Yeah.
And then what's this big machine right here?
That is fairly new to the industry. That's called a high-speed disc.
Okay, so what's it do?
So that levels out the field for getting ready for planting. And you can cross the field. I know it's going to sound slow to you guys, but when you used to plow and stuff, you were going like 3-4 miles an hour. That I can run it across the field as fast as the tractor can take it, and it does a beautiful job. So I can cover about, in today's environment, a lot of guys don't want to work really late, so I had to kind of consider, when we first started, we'd work 15-hour days and stuff like that. Well, those days are done.
Yeah. When did that happen?
Yeah.
When did that switch?
I would say that's in the last 10 years. People have gotten, and rightfully so. They want to be home more to do things, and
is it more you're seeing it in the newer generations?
Yeah.
Is it more of like
the old guys like me? They're still like, I'll work on, I'll work on. But the newer generation, they want to be home. There's more things going on, and they got young families, and they should be home. So we had to figure out a way to do this work, but still get it done in a somewhat timely manner. So that can do about 120 acres in an 8-hour day.
Oh my gosh.
So
what I'm seeing all the way over there,
is
that all yours? That goes all the way to the tree lines way over there? Or what's that?
Yes and no. We farm some of it, and then my neighbor farms some of it. So it's
so you guys kind of share?
Yeah, my neighbor actually owns it all, but he has us farming some of it, and then we farm, and so we have land all over. Not all of it's like right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish it was all just right here. It'd save out on traveling, but we do definitely do some road work. This one's all filled with corn. My other one's filled with soybeans, and then I got another one filled with corn.
And the soybeans. So what is the use of the soybeans in production?
Soybeans. My soybeans get shipped. We actually take them down to Port Newark or Port Elizabeth.
Okay.
And it gets put in shipping containers, and then my broker sends them out to Malaysia, China.
They go to Asia.
Yeah. Yep.
What for? Just like
small hog farms. Some of them. I don't know. They just make feed out of it, over there.
How long have they been taking America's soybeans or your soybeans? Has this been something?
China takes 1 out of every 3 rows grown in the United States, I believe, of soybeans. So they're like they are the biggest buyers of our soybeans.
Oh, so the pandemic really had an effect.
Yeah.
What happened then?
Well, when we put tariffs on there, that we lost that market. It really kind of put us in a bad spot. But then they came back on, and they're got an appetite for our soybeans still.
Oh, so you're saying, okay, so the tariffs that Trump put on in 2016, 2020, that negatively impacted you guys.
Yes.
Can you explain that? Because this would be good for some people that are watching this who are just you know,
Well,
they hear about the tariffs that are coming back in, and
Yeah.
they just think, oh, yay, or oh, no. But
Yeah.
it's like, you're a direct person affected by this.
Yeah, they, you know, I don't want to, let's see. So they were buying, I'm trying to think how many billions of bushels they were billions of bushels they were buying, and then they just cut ties with us and went over to Brazil and bought them from there.
Oh, they didn't even try to compete. They just said, okay, fine, we're just going to go to Brazil.
Yeah, they went to Brazil, and they're kind of doing that now. And they actually, since then, and this isn't political, because I mean they kind of probably deserved what there was all about. And I'm not trying to say that I know what I'm talking about that way, but for
your business,
for the fact, our business we lost $1.68 a bushel on soybeans, so it would put us in the negative column as far as profitability on them for a while. But they did come back. I got to say, they did come back to the playing field.
Yeah.
Whatever happened politically there, they did come back, and everything was. But I went through a little bit of a rough time there.
So you'd say it's fair enough to say you're not a fan of the tariffs.
No, no,
tariffs are not ideal.
Tariffs aren't ideal, and same with a strong dollar. We're not a fan of that, because if we have a weak dollar, that means everything for the United States is cheaper. So they'll go back to the United States and buy from us again.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
So then post 2020, things for that. So outside of tariffs, though, it was also pretty bad, just because the exporting and importing.
Yeah, I mean, farming's up and down. Like right now, we're in a little bit of a recession as far as the grain part of the operation is low. Like, when I was born in 1972, we were getting $4.50 a bushel for corn. That's what we're getting today. So
what?
Yeah. So we're it's a little bit, it's a supply and demand thing. We're producing too much, and so that's the way it goes. But until we have a bad year, the Midwest had a great year, great growing season, and Brazil had a great growing season.
So how do you gauge that? Let's keep walking too. I'd love to check out over here. So how do you gauge a good growing season when you say that? Are you talking about profitability? Are you talking about the product? Like, what exactly does that mean?
I always want yield first. So so if we're getting good rains and things are growing good and yields are good, that's a good year for me. And then I deal with the pricing later. And so we future out pricing too. We could sell, I sold some 2026 corn, and we can future. So if we feel like the price is, we're speculating on yield, and that's where you got to say it's a certain person to be a farmer, because we drop $2 million a year. We're borrowing from the bank.
$2 million you're borrowing from the bank.
Yeah,
that's just on average.
Yeah, to put seed in the ground. That's not equipment. That's just put seed in the ground.
So I gotta ask, just because you're the head honcho here, how stressful is it being a farmer? Because some people see it from this romanticized look, being like, oh my God, they're riding the tractor along the fields. They have a simple living. Yeah. It's easy to some degree. How stressful is it really?
I guess I've gotten a little bit used to it, a little bit, it's been a little less, because I've just gotten used to it. But I tell you, I'm glad I'm on the downhill side of the things. I think, because, things are getting more stressful. I think the farming has kind of gotten a little bit, a bad name lately. I think social media in general has let us believe that we're just out here spraying and throwing chemicals and they're doing fertilizers.
So the actual organic thing, that whole thing is really negatively affecting you guys.
Well, I wouldn't say. I mean, I don't have a problem with anybody doing organic or doing anything, but it seems like everybody else has a.
There's a lot of labeling, though.
A lot of labeling, and I think it's a lot of ignorance. I really,
you don't think some 16-year-old telling you how you should be farming? You don't like that?
Well, I just think, I don't know how to explain. I always tell people, would you rather drink the water coming out of this stream that comes through here, or would you rather drink it out of the Hudson? So, and if I'm that bad, why do we sit on some of the cleanest streams in Hunterdon County right here that we're farming against since the 1960s? And, if we're that bad, they would have been polluted. And they're not. They are Class A streams, and we've been farming along them for generations, So
what are some of the common complaints they're saying? Are they just...
No, they read, Roundup, hey, listen, you're not supposed to drink the hard stuff, you know what I mean? It's not good for you that way, you know what I mean? And like, you're not supposed, don't get it on you, don't drink it. You're not supposed to drink dish detergent either, it's not good for you, But if it's put on right
Yeah.
and done the way you're supposed to, it's perfectly safe.
Yeah.
It's just when you don't do it that way, it's not safe, you know.
So there's been a lot of misinformation on this.
I would say so. I mean, it's.
How do your kids feel? Because your kids probably, they go to school with some of these people, and they probably
do.
are like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
No.
No, they're better explaining it than I am.
Yeah.
I got to say, I'm not very good at explaining all that because I grew up with it. It's a little harder. They're seeing it from a different angle. My wife grew up in a city. She's better explaining it because she came from that knowledge of, and being now that she's my wife and been around and does works with me on the farm.
So you married a city gal?
I married West Orange girl.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you brought her into the farm life.
Brought her into this farm life. She was a horse, moved out this way as a horse girl, but but she was city. Yeah. Listen, I love being what I do. I mean, I also like skiing, and I like mountain biking, and I like being out and and I would never.
So there's a life outside of farming for farmers today, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I don't get much of a days off. Like, I took my first day off 2 weeks ago in 3 months, and
first day off in 3 months.
and went mountain biking, and I'm completely out of shape.
I don't know. I feel like when you work on a farm, you kind of stay in shape.
Well, you do a lot of driving, so it's not as labor intensive as it was in the 20s and 30s, and then
I was saying, like, there is more of a life now. Like, a lot of farmers too, like, they will do things outside of just farming.
Oh yeah. A lot of guys. I find a lot of the guys do a lot of sports and stuff. Play a little basketball on nights and play a little baseball and
a
lot of hunters. I don't hunt.
Oh, you don't?
No, not much of a guy to sit for that long.
These are some of your guys right here?
Yeah, we're changed. Got to swap out a back tire on a combine.
How we doing?
Yeah,
Doing
that's
well.
Mike.
Who's this?
Mike,
nice to meet you. I'm Alessi. I'm getting the grand tour of this place.
Are you doing a documentary?
Yeah.
The Clucas Farms, what do you have to say?
I love working here. I love it.
How long you been working here?
I did 5 years now.
That's been 5, yeah.
5 years?
Yeah, December.
Yeah.
Were you born and raised farmer, or what's your background?
Actually, no. But I became a farmer and started my own business out of high school.
You did?
And I farmed for 50 years, and Scott and I have been friends since he was a little kid. I was good friends with his dad.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been wonderful working here, and Patty's great.
Yeah.
I couldn't be happier.
That's so awesome.
In my golden year.
Yeah.
Golden year. We're so in them. So all the guys are showing up right now, it looks like.
No, there's the guys. We sell bagged corn here, so they're probably for someone buying some corn. But now these guys have been here this morning. They're just
Wow.
So they're drying a little corn right now. That's what you hear running right now.
So that's the whole thing. So that whole thing's just filled up with corn.
Yeah, everything is pretty much. They're just topping everything off right now. So basically, I'll run you through it real quick. So come from the field. It'll come out of the field usually wet. So we got it. The moisture in the field comes out of the field about 20% or better. It's got to be 15.5 for the mill to take it.
Wow, that smell.
And
it smells rich.
yeah. So this is our wet holding tank. This is where all the wet corn will go. It'll come out of that into this dryer. It'll go up to the top. And by the time it gets to the bottom, it'll be dry. And then it goes up that tower, and then we put it in any bin we want. And it goes through this computer.
Oh, wow. The whole operations are from right here.
Yeah, so the corn's only 16%. We've had it's extremely dry here, and it's coming out at 15.8 right now, and we'll air dry off the rest.
Oh, so that's drying it up. What's going on right now?
Yeah. We're running at 78% of the dryer capacity. We only got one burner on. He's only running 90 degrees in there right now. And target rate is 16. That's what it should be coming out. It's 15.8, close enough for government work. And,
I like how organized it is. Everything's labeled.
Yeah. Sort of. Not always. So, yeah.
Not always. Like you said in the beginning, you can't be type A, right?
No. No, it's always Always something. It's my
How we
brother
doing?
Big.
Bob, nice to meet you. You're Scott's brother.
Yes, I am.
Oh, man, you're a Lakers fan. What are you doing?
Well, I'm retired.
That's why.
I want to make sure dogs weren't bothering you when you pulled in.
Ah, no, I love them. The dogs were fantastic. What's it like showing up to this farm? You grew up, that's your childhood home right there.
Yes, it is.
That must be crazy. It's like all these years it's still here. Not many people can say they lived in their
No,
childhood
you know,
home.
because somebody online once asked me, said, how far do you live from the place you grew up? And I said, well, 50 feet.
Oh my God. So are you in the farm industry? You're retired, you're out.
I'm a retired construction worker, right? You know, when I was growing up, we had cows.
Yeah.
You know, that was before his time.
Yeah.
You know, and but that it wasn't for me, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so,
It takes a certain person. But
yeah,
construction's
you know
also...
what? I wouldn't have had it any other way going.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that was just a great childhood. You know, it's all your responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I remember Dad put me out on out in the hayfield when I was 16 years old and had me run the whole hayfield.
Yeah.
16. Firing people and doing all the ropes and everything. You know?
Yeah.
You know, but that's
Yeah.
you know, but that's how we grew up.
Yeah. You gotta grow up fast.
Yeah, yeah. Peanut Clucas, yeah.
Well, I think the thing is, Dad never had any money.
Yeah.
My parents grew up pretty modest.
Yeah.
So they were kind of like, I think there comes in a lot of generation farms, or generational anything, whether it's a pizza place, whatever. First generation struggles, so the next generation works there to help out with the struggles, then they carry it on. And then the third generation then goes off to school and they get more time to do other things and they tend to move on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what happens now? Because your kids, they're not doing farm.
Yeah.
So what's the future? What's gonna happen to Clucas Farm?
That's a good question. I keep on thinking that someone will come along and buy me out, work with another young guy to move him along, and he just transitions into it.
Is that common for farmers?
No. No.
How many people? Let's put it this way: you're younger than us. How many people do you know that want to work on a farm?
Probably close to zero.
Yeah. And that's the issue.
Yeah. There's
So why
some young
is that?
guys. It's long hours, and the money it's up and down. I mean, this year we're probably not going to really make any money. Last year we did okay. Last year we did real good. The year before that I had a drought, and that was kind of a loss. So it's just it's not, like I said, no type A personality. It's like when you borrow that $2 million, there's no guarantee that you're going to get the $2 million back.
So is this becoming a new thing that people aren't going into farming and there's becoming a shortage? Or is that just your case, or what's it look like?
The farms are just getting bigger. If I went out tomorrow, I mean, you might not have Clucas Farms, but someone would take over the land.
They would.
Yeah, and it would be scoffed up in minutes, because the land shortage is definitely something that's real.
It is real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that would happen. So that's how the farms, when people complain about how big farms are today than they were back in the day, it's just because there's really just a lot less of us.
There's less
So they just naturally get bigger. Or, there's a guy I met out in Illinois, he had 25,000 acres.
Yeah.
And everybody said, that, and in the city, that would be a mega farm, and they would never like that. It wasn't that he was 25,000 acres. His brother came back to the farm.
Yeah.
You got to add. Now, the only way we get paid is in acres. It's not like I can go to my boss and say, I got to get more. I just had a kid, and I need a 401k. So he goes by acres.
Yeah.
So the brother came back. Then the uncle came back. Then his brother had 3 kids, and they came out of college, and they came back. And it came from there. So now they've grown to 25,000 acres, but it's all family run.
So what would you say is like the biggest misconception people get about farmers?
Well, we're number one. We're not just going out and spraying everything.
No spraying.
Yeah. I mean, we're
Newsflash.
spraying. We're spraying, but we're not spraying any more than we have to, and we don't spray any more than we did in the 1970s. It's the same.
So what caused that whole movement of that? Outside?
It wasn't really till the internet. we had a problem, you know what I mean? It never became I never heard of it, like people ever talking negative until really you know, everybody on social media, you know, has started, you know, we're not doing anything, we're doing it bigger.
Yeah.
Right? It's a bigger way because we have to. I mean, for instance, taxes on this farm used to be $500 a year when I was a kid, right? That's what it was. I pay $25,000 a year to stay here now.
Holy moly.
Now, you take my insurance is $75,000 a year. So, and once again, I'm going to go back to acres. Everything I do, all these guys getting paid, all these guys 401k, health insurance, so on, is getting paid through the acres I grow.
Yeah.
So I just got done telling you the corn when I was a kid was $4.50 a bushel. Now it's $4.50 a bushel. 1972 was $4.50. 2024 we're at $4.50. So how do you do it? You run over more acres and you get more bushels per acre.
You're like, we need to buy more land right now.
Yeah. so that's how you do it. And I'm not the only one having this issue, you know. And if you got family members that come on and people coming on, the only way you are affording them is doing more.
Jeez.
And that's how you go about it. That's how farmers go. I mean, it's so different because I see my kids when they're getting jobs, you know,
Yeah.
and they're you know, they're almost, you know, they're saying, well, I need to get 80 grand a year, or I need to do this, I need to, you know, my.
You weren't even thinking about how much. You're like, I'm just trying to freaking
well, you know,
build this thing.
But you know, for us, as farmers in general, I'm just saying, not me, everybody, we're only getting paid in what we grow, and so if just like you're going to get more when you get older or whatever, you're going to get a bigger house or whatever, so you got to go and do more. So it's we don't put the price tag on what we grow. I guess that's the biggest thing is we have no idea what we're going to get, what we're getting yield, or what we're getting paid for at the end of it.
Brian, it's a pleasure to meet you. How long you been with Clucas right here?
It's been a long time.
18 years.
Yeah.
18 years. How much has changed?
Pretty much everything you see.
Yeah.
It's like 1,000 acres, I think, when I started.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. Are you coming from a farmer family too?
No, just
No.
watch the farmers.
You just
I was
watched.
a carpenter.
Wow.
So,
What made the change?
07 recession, and he needed help, and I was doing work for him inside, and I ended up staying.
Wow. Is it funny to think that when people think of New Jersey, they don't think of this?
Yeah.
That they think of like New York City or Philadelphia or the shore, but they never think that it's a farming mecca.
No, it's like, you drive right by, you're in 78, you cruise right by, you come off here, and people come in here all the time like this place is beautiful, you know. I'd say you forget how beautiful an area we work in, you know, because you're here every day, but
Yeah.
sometimes you get to actually slow down and enjoy it. But it is a nice area.
Yeah. Do you know of any aspiring farmers that are coming up in the new generation, or what's it look like to you? Are you pessimistic, optimistic?
I mean, I would love to say I could be out on my own, but it's how do you know, the cost of it and to get the loans and the risk of it. You can't buy equipment. I mean, to buy a baler, it used to be 25 grand, or now 40-something thousand. Everything's doubled in price. How do you?
He's confirming you.
Yeah.
So, if you saw our maintenance bill, if you see our fuel bill, our labor bill, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's how do you one thing goes wrong and you're done. I mean, luckily he came into it at a different time where he did have to bust his ass, sold his house, everything to keep everything, but he was able to make money, get himself out, and get him to this point. If it wasn't for the fact that he built himself to the point he did at the time he did, what things have exploded to at expense now.
Yeah.
I don't know how you try to get the loan to start.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that, being that it seems like it would be very hard for someone who wanted to start their own farm.
It's almost
like,
impossible.
could you even imagine that?
No, not right now. Not in these times. I mean, those tractors up there, they're 30, minimum. You're 35,000. If the paint was bad on that, it was oil leaking all over, you pay 30 grand for that little 2-wheel drive tractor that's a 1990. But they're bringing in good condition 40, 50 grand. For a 1990 tractor. So, and the scary thing is today, you're not efficient. You're running small equipment.
Yeah.
How do you make money if you can't get the job? You only got a small window.
Yeah.
So that's why everybody goes big equipment, and the smallest equipment is almost unaffordable.
So this just makes me realize is it becoming a thing that it's becoming more commercialized farming?
Oh, by
because
far.
like you guys are private, small industry right here. But like, let's say whatever reason, something happens, you can't have the land, you can't pass it over to somebody. Is the next step like, all right, we got to find one of these big commercialized? Is that like what many farmers
I think
do
the
today?
first, well, that's how they get bigger quick. You know, somebody retires, and the next guy to come along, you know, and unfortunately, like if I'm leasing my land out, of course, you're trying to get as much for it, and the guy that's going to have the money and the funds is probably going to be pretty established, and he's going to be already a pretty good size, and he's just going to double his operation.
Yeah.
And I think that's how the farms are, you know, have gotten so big. You know, they like I said before, they're, you know, if they're bringing a son or a family member on, they got to put, you know, they've got to get paid well, and it takes a lot.
Clucas Farms. All right. That's got to be the fun thing growing up on a farm, because there's so much land, there's so much to do.
Oh, there's
you
a lot
go
of fun things.
outside.
Yeah, I used to race motocross when I was a kid.
Oh, you did?